So today's session is slightly different to our regular conversation classes because it's a masterclass. So obviously you don't get to speak as much as in our conversation classes, but I really want you to communicate in the chat because I'll be asking you quite a few questions, okay? And you may not be able to speak, but you can provide your answers and ideas in the chat, okay? Now, let us start. Am I sharing my screen, by the way? I'm not. Can you see my, can you see the presentation? Oh, you can't. No, Freshta is saying, no, okay, hold on, Freshta. Yeah, cool. Now, can you see, let me just, good, okay. Can you see it now? Yeah, okay. Thanks, Ashik. Jan, yeah, okay, cool. So today we have 1 hour and we have a major, huge topic, right? Oh, Ashik, Ashik has raised his hand already. Did you want to talk to me, Ashik? No? Okay. Okay, so today we have this really, really big topic. So we'll be talking about questions. And as you know, this is a major, major topic in English. And I already know you more or less. So I know your level of English and I know how good you already are. So we are going to start quite easy, but as we go along, it will get more difficult. So I really want to challenge you as well. So let's start then. Okay. Now, first of all, what I want you to do is I'm going to give you about an hour, okay? Sorry, about a minute, and I'm going to show you a couple of questions, and I'd like you to, in the 1 minute, very quickly see if you can identify errors in the questions, okay? So this will give me an idea of how much you really know, and it will be a nice way for you to actually start the session. So are you ready? Cool. Okay, so you have 6 questions, and that includes the first sentence, okay? I'm giving you 45 seconds, 1 minute. Very quickly look at these questions. Just make a mental note of the errors and see if you can think of the correct answer, okay? If you want, you can put the answers in the chat, but you don't have to. Okay, 30 seconds. Okay, 15 seconds. Okay, let's just it's just an introduction, okay? So let's not spend too much time on this slide. Now, can you identify, do you know if fast food is healthy? Which sentence Twang is saying? Which sentence is it? Can you just give me the number? Do you oh, number 2, right, Twang? So do you know if fast food is healthy? Okay, let me just use my pen. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so what you're saying is you want to move this here. Okay, that's great. That's it. Okay, that's brilliant. Now someone else was saying, I could see something in there. Okay, let's look at the first one. Okay, are you happy with the first sentence? Yes or no? Yes or no? Does she like fast food? You happy, Ashik, with the first one? Let's find out how much do you already know, shall we? Are you happy with that? Christina is saying no. Jan is saying yes. I'm not. There's a big problem with this sentence. Fresh Start is saying no. Okay, so what's wrong? Let's find out how much you already know, shall we? Right? So what happens is you don't need this. We just remove it altogether. How about number one? Okay, give me some idea. So she likes fast food. What's wrong with this question? Something is missing, right? So what we need is this, right? So does she like fast food? That's it, Christina. Now, number three. What do you think about number three? Why you don't like fast food? It's delicious. Why don't you like, okay, why don't you like fast food? Brilliant. Good. Number four. Oh, but some people speak like that. Oh, some people, do you, why you don't like fast food? Do they? Why don't you like fast food? If people speak like, why you don't like fast food? Okay, we'll talk about this in a minute because I have, we will be talking about negative questions, okay? So let's leave it for now, okay? Number four, she eats a lot of fast food. Does she? Very good, doesn't she? So we need this, right? Number five, okay, so Tuang actually identified the mistake in number four. Number five, who does eat most junk food in your family? Very good. We don't need this. And number six, who she goes to when she wants money for McDonald's? Her mother? Her father? Anybody? So something is missing here. Very good. Okay, Christina is saying, Christina, you're very good. Okay, so who does she go to? Okay, now, so we have these errors dealt with. Now, very quickly, okay, what I want you to do now, I'd like you to tell me, let's move this bloke, okay? So we have all these questions that we are going to discuss today, and I want you to tell me which of these are examples of direct question. Just give me the number in the chat box. Okay, so number one, okay, that's it. Does she, right? Indirect question. Anybody? Okay, so I'll do it. Number two, a negative question. Very good. May is saying number two. Negative question. Which one is an example? Number four. Is it negative? No, number three. Maria is saying. Very good. Oh, we will be talking about negative questions today. Tap questions. Which one is it? Number four. Yeah. And subject object. Number five and number six. So number five and number six are both, yeah, subject object questions. Now, good. So before we start talking about the first group of questions you've identified here, I have a little surprise for you, okay? This happened today. And this actually happened today. I mean, there's nothing better than real life examples. Today, I received an email from someone who speaks very good English, but the email contained this error, okay, this sentence. Now, the person who emailed me speaks really good English, okay? Nonetheless, she's a teacher nonetheless. So you can imagine, okay? I was not expecting this kind of an error, but it's just to sensitize you to the fact that indirect questions are quite tricky. Very good, Maria is saying. So may I know what steps, Maria is saying, what steps should I follow? So what happens is we swap these two around. Yeah. So what steps I should follow to receive the certificate? Okay. So it's an example of an indirect question, and students, we all make mistakes. Okay. But we have to be very, very careful with this. So now let's go straight to our first item, which is direct and indirect questions. Okay. Now I have 5 questions here. Okay. Oh, I forgot to tell you at the very beginning of the session that I attended Gallery Teacher Speaking Club on Tuesday. I think Hedy was running it, and the topic was healthy eating. And that's why I decided to stick to this topic in our masterclass, because I thought, lovely topic, let's talk about healthy eating. So don't be surprised that all the sentences refer to McDonald's and fast food and so on. So now we have all these questions, and all of them are direct questions, right? Now, can you tell me how many 2 different types of direct questions can you actually identify here? So there are 6 questions, but I can tell you that there are 2 types of questions that we typically use. Can you tell me how you would divide them, how you would put them into 2 different groups? Anybody? Okay, I'm going to give you a little clue. So, number 1, okay, let me just do this. Okay, so number 1, okay, number 2, number 3, and number 4. These 3 would be one group. And then we have number 2, number 4, is it number 5 and number 6? This is another group. How are they different? Very good. May is saying, so number 1, number 3, and number 4, these are yes/no questions. And number 2 and number 5 and number 6, these are WY questions, right? Now, which questions would you ask if you, suppose you went to a party, okay, and you wanted to have a conversation with somebody, which questions would you use? Yes/no questions? Good, information questions. So you would probably go for where do you live, why do you do that, how many, right? So you'd ask for more information. You would really avoid yes/no questions if you want to have a conversation with people, right? Because if you ask a yes/no question, there's no conversation, right? Good. So so that's pretty straightforward. Now, what I want you to do in that case is I'd like you to look at these phrases, right? So what we have here is the different phrases that we use to introduce indirect questions. And what I want you to do is I'd like you to very quickly just tell me which phrase, okay, you would like to use with which question. Oh, why is it not opening? Oh, come on. You see, technology. It was working on me earlier, now it's not. Okay, I know why. Okay, cool. So now, so we have 6 questions, okay? Which one do you want to use in this question? So we are introducing indirect questions, okay? So obviously we need this introductory phrase. So does she like fast food? Perhaps we can go for this. So please ask her, okay? Where did she have dinner yesterday? Which one do we want? Let's go for this. I'm not sure. is she a big fan of fast food? Perhaps we could just go for this. Now, have you ever eaten McDonald's? I'd like to know. Let's go for I'd like to know. Okay, and why does she always eat McDonald's? Would you happen to know, or have you any idea? And the last one, what did you have for dinner? Can I ask you? That's it. Okay. So now, what I want you to do is I'd like you to use these phrases, okay, and change the direct questions into indirect questions, okay? This is pretty straightforward, okay? So just give me the answers in the chat. So please ask her. Come on, guys. Anybody? She does. Please ask her. So does she like fast food? Please ask her. Come on, guys. Whether she likes fast food. That's it. So please ask her whether or if she likes fast food, right? So what's missing here is if. Number 2. Okay, anybody? Where did she have dinner yesterday? I'm not sure. Come on, guys. Okay, where, but then I'm not sure where she had dinner last night, right? Jan is saying. Now, how about number 3? Now, that's it, May. Good. Number 3, I'm not helping you with number 3. I can't help you with this. So, is she a big fan of fast food? I was wondering. Okay, Freshta, do you want to say of or if? Okay, if. Good. If she is. Very good. So, if she is a big fan. Okay, have you ever eaten McDonald's? I'd like to know. If you have ever eaten, right? Number 6. Okay, Monica is saying, if you have never eaten, is this just a typo? Did you mean never, or did you mean if you have ever? If you have ever, right? If you have ever eaten McDonald's, that's it. And come on, 2 more. Have you any idea why she always eats? Very good. So we have the question word, why. Okay. And what did you have for dinner last night? Can I ask you? Come on, it's the last one. Can I ask you? What you had for dinner last night? That's it. Okay. So now, so what is happening here? Okay, I can see you already know. So we are just going to say it again, okay, because maybe there are some people here today who still don't know how to make indirect questions. So what happens? In questions, in direct questions, we use auxiliary verbs, right? So where did she, is she, have you, does she, did you? And what happens when you introduce the same question using one of these introductory phrases? This changes into a statement. So it's no longer a question. So we have if, okay, if the question starts with the auxiliary verb, right? So we have 3 questions starting with auxiliary verbs, yes, no questions, or a question word, okay? if it's a WY question. And then what happens is, this is just a regular sentence. So no auxiliary verbs are needed, okay? And that was exactly the case here. So this teacher who emailed me today should have said, may I know what steps I should follow to receive the certificate, right? Very good. Now, again, very, very quickly, before we move on to something more difficult, okay, let's just do the form of direct and indirect questions. So we have an example. How often does she eat? Do you know how often or if she eats fast food? So what happens here? The first one is, hold on. Let's undo. So the first one is the question word, right? Then what we have is, what's next? The auxiliary verb. And then we have the subject, right? And then we have the verb. So this is how we make direct questions. So question word, auxiliary verb, subject, verb. And indirect questions, what happens is we have this introductory phrase, do you know, right? Then we can have question word, right? How often? Or we can have if it's a yes/no question. And then we have subject, right? Okay, let me just move the chat. And the last one is the verb, okay? So this is the difference. Now, could I ask you why we actually use indirect questions? I mean, if you are teachers, okay, you may have been asked by your students, okay, why do I even need to change this question into an indirect question? Why do we do this? What's the point of it? Anybody? Good. So Jing is saying to be polite. Very good, very good. And we use a lot of indirect questions in English. I mean, we use it more often than direct questions, right? Okay, now let's move on to negative questions, okay? Now, suppose, only suppose, I asked you this question, okay? So I asked you, didn't you enjoy Gallery Teacher Speaking Club sessions this week? Now, when do you think I could ask you this question? In what circumstances? Would I just ask you this question when I bumped into you on the street? Just like that. Would I start a conversation with this question? Yes or no? Is it okay to start no? Jing is saying no. Why is it not okay? Why wouldn't you start a conversation with a negative question? Okay, so look. If you look at this question, okay, now there are two things that I could be doing. I could be asking for more information, or I could just be confirming something that I already believe. Now, which one is it here? Am I asking for more information, or am I confirming something that I already know? Am I good? Ashik is saying confirming. So the assumption here is that I already know that you didn't enjoy the speaking club. And what is my reaction to this? How do I feel about the fact that you didn't like it? I'm surprised, right? So the reason why I'm asking you this is because I'm really surprised, right? So I want to confirm. So I already know something about you, and what I know is negative, and I'm really surprised. So this is why I'm saying, didn't you enjoy the session? Now, okay, my next question though is, you tell me that, or I assume that you didn't enjoy the speaking club. And I ask you the question, didn't you enjoy the speaking club? And how can you answer this question? So let's just imagine I'm asking you this question. Didn't you like the sessions this week? How do you answer? Come on, guys, put your answers in there. Either way, yes or no, but put your answer. Yes, I did enjoy them. Yes, I did, Ashik is saying. Yes, I did. Okay, so, and that's very important. Very good, Ashik. Okay, or we can see Hedy here. Now, so what happens is very often students just provide this yes or no answer, right? So didn't you like the class? Yes. And then there's a lot of confusion if you don't provide more information. So yes, you did, or yes, you didn't. No, no, you did, or no, you didn't. So it's quite tricky with negative questions, okay? Let's look at another example, okay? Let's look at this. And let's just imagine, okay, again, suppose you, my student, okay? And I asked you to buy a course book. Okay, so next day, I see you in a bookshop. You see, this is you, okay, browsing. Now, I see you in a bookshop, but then 5 minutes later, I see you go in, and then I see you come out, but I can see you have no book, okay? You have no bag, no book. So I'm really surprised. So what do you think I could ask you? So I expect something to happen, right? But this doesn't happen. So I'm surprised. What do you think I could ask you in this situation? So I see you go in. I asked you to buy the course book. Didn't you buy any book? Okay. Didn't you buy the book? Very good. Yeah. Ashik. Yeah. I could also ask, let me just move this. Don't they have it? Right, so I can see you didn't buy it. Okay, didn't you buy the book? Don't they have it? And then you answer yes. Okay, now how am I supposed to understand this? Yes, what? Yes, they had it. Yes, they didn't have it. So you see, if you don't provide more information, then your answer is very, very confusing. So negative questions are quite tricky, and how you answer them is also quite tricky. So don't they have it? Oh, yes, they do, but I forgot to take my money with me. Or, oh, no, they don't have it. They've just run out of stock. So you have to provide more information to avoid any confusion when you answer negative questions. Now, let's just look at two rules. So when we deal with negative questions, okay, we don't ask negative questions unless we already assume something negative, okay? So you wouldn't just ask a negative question out of nowhere. You probably respond to somebody's comment. So maybe someone said something and you are surprised, and this is why you use negative questions. Or perhaps but okay, let's wait with perhaps, because this is on the next slide. So don't just ask negative questions out of nowhere, out of the blue, okay, when you bump into people. And when answering a negative question, you need to provide more information, okay? So otherwise, if it's just yes or no answer, then people will be confused, okay? Even native speakers get confused, okay? So be very, very careful with negative questions. Now, let's look at this situation then, okay? So what we have here is two characters, okay? You recognize this one, Brad Pitt, and I'm sure you also recognize Homer Simpson. Now, what do you think, or can you think of a scenario where these two people could meet, or can you think of a topic of their conversation? Quite unusual, right? Do you actually know Homer Simpson? Have you watched The Simpsons? Because I'm a big fan, so this is why we have Homer Simpson here. Okay, let me help you. So, Brad Pitt meets, bumps into Homer Simpson somewhere in LA, okay? So, a fancy cocktail party, and Brad is saying, I never eat McDonald's, okay? Now, what do you think Homer is saying to that? Any ideas? Come on, guys, use your humor. So, I never eat McDonald's. What do you think Homer Simpson may say to that? Okay, I'll help you with that. Okay, so Homer is saying this. So Homer is saying, why or what? Don't you like fast food? So don't you like to meet him? Didn't you like it? Okay, cool. This is all great. Yeah, so Homer is really shocked because obviously for him, fast food is the best thing in the world. So he's shocked. That's why he's using this question. He's asking, don't you like fast food? So we know he's really surprised. Now, what do you think Brad could be saying? Obviously, he can't just say no, yes, because that will be very, very confusing. So what could he say? He says, nah, not my, anybody? I don't know, I don't like it. No, not my cup of tea. Very good, very good. So he's not just saying no, he's actually extending his answer. Very good. Now, to this, Homer is saying, okay, right, but do you like donuts? What do you think he is saying then? He's probably saying, no, I really don't like donuts. So again, Homer is shocked. You don't like donuts? Don't you like donuts? So you see two ways of asking this question, right? So you don't like donuts? And then your intonation is actually telling me that this is a question. Don't you like donuts? Now, to which Brad Pitt is saying, is it unhealthy to eat donuts, right? So again, Brad is surprised because this is not good food, right? Now, okay, let me, just 1 minute. Okay, now it's your turn. We have four different scenarios, okay? And I'm going to show you this first. Okay, let me just tell you very, very briefly who these people are. So this is a couple getting ready for a party, okay? Now, the wife has just bought her husband a nice tie, okay? So in anticipation of the party, she bought him a nice tie. But as you can see, he's not wearing a tie, okay? So what do you think he could be saying? Anybody? she's really surprised. I mean, it's not what she expected, right, from him. So what she was expecting was a nice tie, right, matching the suit. I wonder why. Okay, very good. So I wonder why you are not wearing the tie. But how about, don't you, very good, Ashik, don't you like the tie? Very good, very good. Now, how about this one? Aren't you going to wear a tie? Yeah, so she's really surprised. And this is why we use negative questions. Now, what happens next is the man is calling for a taxi. And now the wife is again very, very surprised because it was not the plan. The plan was to actually drive there. So he is calling a taxi. What do you think she's saying? May is saying, don't you like the tie that I bought for you? Beautiful. Yeah. So what is she saying when this guy is calling for a taxi? Again, not what she was expecting, okay? She assumed that they would be driving. So, aren't we driving? Right? So again, she's surprised that he's calling for a taxi. And finally, okay, she's looking for the flowers that the husband was supposed to buy for the host, and she can't see the flowers. What do you think she may be saying to him? Didn't you buy flowers? So again, she's very, very, very surprised. Okay, so in this scenario, what we have is one of the ways how we use negative questions. And it's very similar to what we had on the previous slides. So we use it, we use them to show that what we expected has not happened, right? And that's the way for you to show your surprise. But I would like you to now look at number 2, and that's a slightly different scenario. And believe me, okay, okay, this could be myself and my husband. Okay, so it's a married couple. Okay, we've been married for over 20 years. So that's exactly how it is after 20 years. So that's me, that's my husband. Now, my husband is listening to an audiobook. He likes to do that. Okay. Now, I want him to help me because he never helps. What do you think I'm saying to him? So that's what I often say to him. So aren't you going to help me for a change? But obviously, my husband is not paying any attention to me. Okay, so can't you listen to me when I'm talking to you? Okay. Oh my God, this is almost like taken from a scene from my living room. And then finally, okay, he said he would just be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, okay, relaxing. Now, aren't you finished yet? So now, what I want you to notice here is how I feel about my husband and what's happening. Now, is it a similar situation to the first scenario? Because I'm using negative questions again, but do I feel in this scenario, do I feel like this woman in the first scenario? Yes or no? Very good. So Jing Jing is saying no. And this is that's the thing with negative questions. Okay, you have to be careful again because there's really big risk that you may come across as nagging, you know, like a nagging wife, always complaining. So negative questions could sound a little bit I don't know, critical, and you may come across as upset and irritated. So even this one, if you look at this, aren't you going to wear a tie? Okay, your intonation will indicate that this is just a question, okay, showing that you're surprised. You are not nagging. But believe me, in this situation, the tone of my voice is very, very clear. Okay, I'm just absolutely fed up. Okay, my husband never helps, so aren't you going to help me for a change? So we use negative questions to nag, to complain. This is another interesting thing about negative questions. But mind you, now look at scenario number 3. Okay, and look at what's happening here. So you have this woman, okay, and a visitor, and what she's saying is, won't you come in? Won't you have a drink with me? Won't you have dinner with us later? What is the function of this negative question? When do we say, won't you do something? What is the situation? Can you interpret the situation? What is this woman doing? Okay, it's future, but is it future, Ashik? Imagine that you come to my house and I open the door and I see your happy, smiling face, and I immediately say, won't you come in? Why don't you come in? Please come in. Won't you have dinner with me later? My husband will be back. So what am I doing? It's not exactly future. Anybody? Very good. Jing Jing is saying. So what you're doing is you are actually inviting someone in a very, very, very polite way. So if when you are in a business meeting, for example, and you could be saying, won't you have a cup of tea, for example? So it's a polite way of inviting people to do something, right? So look, you already have 3 different scenarios, okay, negative questions and 3 different functions, if you will, right? So, and how would you answer this? If I said to you, Ashik, won't you come in? Would you just say yes or no? How could you answer this question? Anybody? Give me an answer. Imagine you are at my door, okay, and I say to you, won't you come in? What can you say? Anybody? You can't just say yes. Yes, I would, Prashta is saying. Yeah, yes, okay. Anybody else? Give me more. Yes, I want. Okay, yes, I would like to. Yes, yes, I'd love to. How about a very simple phrase? Thank you. Good. Twang, of course. Or simply thank you. That's it. So you see, you answering negative questions are quite tricky. Yes, of course. Yes, yes. I'd be delighted, right? I'd love to. Very good. Now, here is a little challenge for you. Now, this bloke he just had a job interview, and he had it yesterday. Now, you can see his face, okay? He's not exactly happy. So what I want you to do is I'd like you to, again, in the chat, if you could think of 3 negative questions and each expressing one of these functions. So imagine that you are the mother or the sister or the girlfriend, okay? And this guy had a job interview, he's not happy. So let's think of the first function. So you assume something about this man and you assume something negative, right? So now you are just checking your assumption. So what do you ask? Come on, guys. Think. So we have 3 different functions, okay? Aren't you going to school? Okay, aren't you going to school today? Aren't you going to school today? Yeah, Jing Jing, yeah, very good. But now, don't forget he had a job interview, okay, yesterday. So perhaps the way he is feeling now is somehow reconnected to what happened yesterday. He really wanted to get the job. And now look at him. He's not exactly selling. Aren't you feeling okay? Aren't you feeling okay? Aren't you feeling, didn't you pass? Very good. Didn't you pass the interview? Very good, Freshta. So didn't you, or perhaps didn't you get the job? Didn't you get the job? Right? So didn't you like, very good, didn't you like your interview? Didn't you get the job? So what you assume is that he didn't like the interview. He didn't get the job. So you are just, aren't you going to tell me something? Very good. Very good. Now, Jing Jing, what you are now saying sounds very much like the second scenario. Okay, you sound like someone who is really losing their patience with this man. Maybe he's your son, maybe he's your husband, maybe he's your brother, and you know that he never he's not open enough, so he doesn't communicate information maybe. So you are nagging, aren't you going to tell me something? Yeah, maybe. So it really depends on the tone of your voice. So you could actually be saying this, right? Come on, tell me something. Aren't you going to tell me? How about the third scenario, guys? If you think of the third one, and it's an invitation, could you possibly, what could you say to him? So we already have, didn't you get the job, right? We assume that he didn't. We are now just waiting for the confirmation. We have, aren't you going to say something to me? Aren't you going to tell me something? Which is nagging, okay? And how about the last one? Yeah, Ashik, perhaps just a simple, would you like a cup of coffee? So won't you, very good, won't you come out with me later? Very good, very good. So you know that this man is feeling a little bit depressed. So you really want to help him take his mind off problems, and you are inviting him to dinner. So as you can see, that this is negative questions, right? Now let's just play a little game very, very, very quickly, okay? Again, a wife and a husband. Now, the husband never pays bills on time. And here it is, another letter, yet another letter, okay, chasing payments. So what do you think this woman could be saying to this man? She is not happy with her man at all, because he does it again and again and again. So what do you think she's saying to him? Here is another unpaid bill. Won't you like to have a oh no, this is not, that's a, come on guys, anybody? Right, can't you remember to pay bills on time, right? Can't you just remember to pay bills on time? She's really really irritated now, because it's not the first time. Can't you just remember? How about this one? This guy promised a couple of days ago or weeks ago that he would not smoke again. So what do you think? What do you think? I'm not quite sure if I can see the chat moving, but I can't see any new messages. So forgive me if I'm not responding and reacting to all your messages. Can't you stop smoking? Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, can't you stop smoking? Didn't you quit smoking? So you're quite surprised, right? You were not expecting this. How about this guy? Okay, this boy is on his sofa. He's watching TV, but he has a big test tomorrow. So what could you be saying to him? Now, you're the mother, so you are really irritated now. He should be studying. Good. Aren't you stop watching? Okay, aren't you going to study? Right? Or don't you have any? Very good. Don't you have any tests? Very good, Freshta. Don't you have a test? Don't you have a test tomorrow? Yes, and you are really surprised because he's still watching TV. Okay, how about, oh, sorry. Now, here is a group of friends, okay? Now, they see you and this is how they react to you. So what do they What do you think they want to say? Won't you join us? Yeah, so come on, join us. And the very last one. Okay. Now, the wife wants to drive somewhere and there's no petrol. Again, the husband, no, didn't you? Not didn't you? No. Okay, it's okay. Didn't you fill up? Yeah, or how about don't you ever fill it up? So the wife is really, really upset, but good, don't you fill up the gas? Very good. So now you get the idea, right? So you kind of can think of 3 different scenarios for negative questions, right? And you have to be very, very careful how you answer them. I'm just being very mindful of the time. It's we have very, very little time, but let's just do this quickly. Okay, now tag questions. Okay, so we've already had indirect questions, we had negative questions. Now let's move on to tag questions. Now I know your level of English is really, really good, so you know this. You know that a tag question is just an auxiliary verb and a pronoun put at the end of the sentence, isn't it? Right? So you know that. You know that we could use tag questions to ask for more information, but you also know that we use tag questions to confirm what we believe is true, and then the intonation changes. So it could be the intonation goes up or it goes down, right? You also know that if you have an affirmative question, right, then the tag question is negative, and the other way around. So negative question and affirmative tag. So this is something that you already know, and I'm not going to be talking to you about that. I'm going to show you some different uses of question tags. Something that you may be confused about. So let's see how well you can do that. Now, we have 5 different groups of questions. Okay, let's look at the first group. You can probably see that there is something very, very similar here. We have someone, no one, and everyone, right? So how do you think you could, what could you put here? So someone is at the door. What do you think? Very good, Maria. Aren't they? Okay. How about the second one? No one asked for help. Not wouldn't you know? No one asked for help. Anybody? Very good. Freshta is saying, but Freshta, good. Freshta is saying, did you? But it's did. Oh, Maria is saying didn't. But then we have no one, which is already negative. So no one asked for help, did they? And the last one, everyone has done their homework. What do you think? Haven't they? So let's establish the rule here together. So what is the rule when you use question tags and you deal with indefinite nouns like someone, no one, everyone, anyone? What do we put, what pronoun do we put in the tag question? Let me just highlight it. Okay, let me take a look. Right, so we use they. Okay, so someone is, aren't they? No one asked, did they? This is negative. So we earlier said negative, right? Positive, positive, negative. So this is already negative, no one, meaning this has to be positive. So everyone haven't they? Right? Now, how about the second group? So you can again see certain things that are similar. So something, everything, and something. So what are you going to put here? Maria is saying, didn't it? Okay, very good. So something happened when I was away, didn't it? Very good. Oh, sorry. Now, everything is okay. Anybody? That's easy. This is how we, isn't it? Very good. And the last one, something smells bad. Doesn't it? Very good. So again, let's look at the rule here. So what happens is, right, instead of they, this time we just have it. Okay. So when you want to make a tag question with something, everything, and something, then the pronoun is always it. Indefinite pronoun, yeah. Okay, now how about C in that case? So what we have here is, what do you think we have here? Let me just highlight it. So we have no, never, and rarely. Good, Ashik. It for things. That's it. Yes, and they for people. You could say that. Yes, yes, yes. Now, so we have adverbs which are negative or limiting. So what happens when you have limiting adverbs? So the sentence, the construction of the sentence appears to be positive, but it's not really positive. It's negative. So because it's negative, okay, then what can we say here? So she eats no junk food. Very good. Does she? Now, if you wanted to say doesn't she, then you have a double negative. So negative, positive. Okay, this is limiting. How about this one? So you never. This is actually, again, something that happened yesterday. I think someone sent me a message saying, so you never received any feedback. And then what could be the question tag? Fresh start, do I? Look at the tense. So you never, does it? Look at the tense. So you never received any feedback. What tense is it? It's past, right? So did you? That's it. Did I? Did you? You never. So did you? Very good, Ashik. So you never received any feedback, did you? And the last one. They are really happy. Are they? Right? So this is limiting. Okay, I'm sorry I wasn't able to finish it. And we still have subject-object questions to cover. So perhaps we could do another masterclass on tag questions and subject-object questions. So next time, Gabi, yeah, that's what Christina is saying. Okay, so guys, thank you very much for today. Okay, I hope you've learned something. Now, don't forget about open learning plan. Okay, I don't know how many of you have already registered, but please register for the membership because it gives you unlimited access to masterclasses and speaking clubs, and you also get learning resources.